Do you know that I've been an amputee for almost like 16, 17 years, and I've realized something over time, that being an amputee and wanting to achieve something as an amputee was not really for me about, in the end, climbing the highest mountain or being able to run or cycle the best or the fastest. I've done all those things that in the end, what really matters is being able to walk properly and comfortably and safely. And in the end, what I really strive for is to try and get a gait that was as good or as close as possible to what my gait used to be like when I had two legs. And in the end, that became my mission. I really kind of let go of all the kind of super sport stuff and decided to focus on being as functional an amputee as possible with my prosthetic leg. That did not exclude doing hikes and, going rowing and cycling and all those kind of amazing things, but it just made it less important. Hence, I decided that what I would do is, I've learned a lot, that I would share some of the things that I've learned. Okay guys, so what are the things that really matter? And I've written down 5 things, and we're going to go from these 5 things that really matter to 5 tips that I'm going to give you to really move into having a gait that is functional, to a gait that is powerful, that you really feel kind of that really works for you. I'm going to ask you to go and practice this and see what changes for you. But the first thing I wrote on is practice. That I can give you all the techniques in the world, and by watching other people we can see and learn all the techniques in the world, but ultimately I need to practice it. I mean, baseball players practice, basketball players practice, Formula 1 drivers practice, photographers practice. Why do we think we're exempt from getting better at something unless we practice it? The second thing is really important, is technique, and today I'll be sharing a few techniques, a few things to keep in mind while you're walking that will really help you with your prosthesis and to work better with your prosthetic leg setup. The third thing that I think is really important is that we need to have the right prosthetic equipment, something you can refer to as, or that Ossur refers to as, the total solution, that it all should come together in one functional unit. I mean by that is the foot, the knee, if you have one, the socket, and the suspension, the liner that we wear. They should all gel and come together to really work for us, to be able to do the job, to be able to walk properly. So that's equipment. And I'll say something about equipment later on. The fourth is that we can learn from others. So to watch a video like this, or by watching others and asking questions, we can learn so much about being an amputee and how to improve my gait. So if you see someone that you think walks really well, ask them, what do you think it is that helps you to walk well? And there's such a strong possibility that you'll hear something that might just change your gait for the better. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we need to take a risk. We need to do something differently. So I'm walking on grass here today on a lawn, because if I'm going to fall, or if you're going to practice something, practice it on a soft terrain. So if you fall, that you're safe, because we still want to practice safety as well as taking a risk. But that we're going to take a risk. There's a very good saying that I've learned over time, and that is that in order to achieve something I've never achieved before, I'm going to have to do something that I've never done before. And for a long time I was a complacent amputee, until I started taking more risks with how I walk, where I walk, what I do. And really when these 5 issues came together, which is technique, prosthetic equipment, learning from others, taking risk and practice, it all started coming together. My gait improved dramatically, not a little bit, dramatically. All right, so let's get into the 5 things that I want to share with you today that should help you to improve your gait. Again, I've written them down. The old memory is not as hot as it used to be. But right, point 1, everything pivots off the hips. All my movement that I do as an amputee pivots off my hips. So at all times, I imagine my hips as the point from where everything will distribute. The hips I keep as steady as possible, and from there my thigh movement, my leg movement, the feet, my upper body, my arms, my head movement, everything really flows from the hips, in 2 directions from the hips. And just being conscious of how the hips move is really important. And most importantly is to walk with your hips forward, almost thrust forward a little bit, as though somebody is pulling you. And it's in that first video, is imagine somebody's pulling you, pulling your hips forward as if there's a towel wrapped around your waist. And you'll see immediately when you pull your hips forward, you straighten out and you just walk so much better with those hips forward. I want to add to that, that ultimately it feels a bit like I started rolling with the walk. Almost, I can imagine if you had to find a song and the beat of the song goes with the pace of your feet, it's almost as though I try and roll with the music. It's like you find a rhythm is the word, I think. As I walk, I find a rhythm, and my whole body starts moving with a rhythm, and the hips is the point, the center point from which it all flows. So keep the hips steady, let everything flow from the hips, and find that rhythm. Keep the hips a little bit forward. Okay guys, next step. What powers your gait? Ultimately, it's your butt, your buttocks, and your thighs. And you'll see, and I'm going to play other little clips where I walk in another area of South Africa, where I really use my thighs to power my walk. If you walk and you can't feel your butt and your thighs working, like clenching, relaxing, then you're doing something wrong. You have to walk from out of your butt and really feel those thighs working. And if that means practicing and actually clenching your buttocks while you're walking in the beginning, that'll become intuitive after a while. It'll just happen naturally. Then you will improve your gait. So really, as you walk, is clench the buttocks and flex those thighs, and you'll feel things get better and better. I'm not focusing at all on what I'm doing right now as I'm walking. I'm just walking, and a lot of the things we're talking about are just coming to me very, very naturally. All right. Okay, so point number 3. Imagine when you're walking that you're wading as if you're going through water, and that as you're wading, you're pushing forward the water with your knees. So I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit, and I'm imagining I'm in water, waist high, and I'm wading, and I'm trying to push away the water with my knees. And as I'm doing that, I feel more powerful. I just feel like I'm flowing more naturally. So the butt's working, the thighs are working, and they're powering the knees through the water that I'm wading through. Of course, there is no water, I'm just imagining it, but that kind of sets up the scene to see if you can change the way you've been doing things. That's the third one. We get to point number 4. And what point number 4 is all about is spatial awareness. That's the constant awareness of what is around me and what is happening around me, what the terrain is doing up front of me. If it's changing, if there are steps coming, is there change in the slope? And again, this is mindful application in the beginning, but it becomes very natural after a while. So in order to improve my gait and how I move through in my environment, I have to become aware of my environment. And I'm just going to refer to it as spatial awareness. So it's improving your spatial awareness. I even anticipate as I walk maybe how many steps I will be taking before I get to an uphill or a slope or an obstacle. And I try and move as a river would flow through rocks, fluidly through my environment, through my space. And be aware of where my feet are going to be, where I'll be placing my feet, and how my body will follow whatever my hips steer me to, and where my feet go. And again, I guess in the beginning it takes a bit of mindfulness to apply this, but ultimately it'll become natural, and you will have a constant awareness of what is around you, how the terrain is changing, and how you can adapt to how you walk. And I'm also constantly getting feedback from my sound side leg telling me what is happening in front of me, how is the terrain and the slope changing, because as my prosthetic leg follows, it will obviously fall on what the sound leg has been on, and I'll be prepared for that. Terrain changes, sloping sideways, going up, going down, whatever obstacles there might be ahead of me. So number 4 was spatial awareness. Number 5, and as important as the others, but possibly even the most important, which is stretch your steps. As you walk, don't shuffle, don't be tentative, start stretching those steps. So I'm going to do that right now. But really move the thighs, the knees, wade, and try and get more distance between your feet. Get that rhythm going I was talking about earlier on. But really, you can slow down your walk, but stretch your steps, and try and reach a bit further with those feet. You'll see it'll give you more fluid motion, and you'll just feel more enjoying the rewards that it'll bring. All right, guys, I think that's my story for today. Thank you for your support, to all the subscribers. Thank you for all the comments that we're getting. I try and answer them all. It's a bit difficult sometimes, but I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Join our channel and join the conversation. And guys, until I see you in the next one, take care, be good, take risks. Ciao.